Yes guys, and welcome to another video. So Sunderland do go away from home tomorrow against Oxford, a team that are fighting for their lives. I think just a win for them, 3 points for them will pretty much see them safe. So it's a massive game for them. However, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, Sunderland don't really have anything to play for. However, I probably wouldn't have even made a video on this game at all if it wasn't for one thing that Regis said after the Blackburn game. Now, I will just acknowledge that I haven't made a video since last weekend, since before the Blackburn game. But as soon as I saw the lineup for the Blackburn game, I just thought, regardless of the result, I'm going to be making the exact same review, the exact same video after the game, because I'm just repeating myself. And I know I appreciate your guys' support, but it can't be too enjoyable me saying the exact same thing week in, week out, game in, game out, which is, of course, speaking about momentum, speaking about sharpness of players. Now, I know I keep on having the same argument with people saying, why risk your best players when we've got nothing to play for? And I just keep on repeating the exact same thing. Is it's not a case of me just wanting to see us win games, which is of course great and does play into the momentum case that I do make, but we haven't played our best players for weeks, whether we've had them available or not. We haven't played them all together for a very, very long time. So now that we have a couple of games left, players coming back from injury, our better players, our first team players coming back from injury, I want to see them play together to get at least a little bit of cohesion and hopefully as well, just as an added bonus, a winning mentality going into the playoffs, because it's all well and good saying, oh, I don't want to risk them getting injured. But if you haven't played them together for months and weeks, or however long it is, and then just throw them all together in a system you want to play in the first leg of the playoffs or second leg, whatever it is, and just say, okay, now I need you to do the business. It's going to take probably 45 minutes for them to even get going and get sharpness into the legs. And by that time, you could have lost the whole leg. Do you know what I mean? You don't know. I just want us to go in with the best possible opportunity, of course. And it's just a risk we're going to have to take, I think, in terms of playing our better players. And as I did allude to just a moment ago with Regis, he did say after the Blackburn game, he said the time for trying our sort of fringe players and giving players who haven't had many minutes here and there, that time has now passed. We are now entering playoff mode, which might just seem like a simple sentence to you guys, but if anything, that was just a massive amount of reassurance to me, because that just shows that he's acknowledged that in recent weeks, yes, performances have been piss poor, let's just put it that way, and the lineups have been mind-boggling a little bit, or at least it felt almost disrespectful to teams, because of course, yeah, you want to see us win every game, but some of the lineups he's been putting together and just mashing together, it's like he's just blindfolded himself and just put names in a bag and just thrown them as a lineup. Do you know what I mean? And just see what happens. It just seemed that poor. Now, after the Blackburn game, this is kind of a reason I didn't want to make a review as well, because it almost made me happy but also angered me at the same time, because the Blackburn game, I felt like we were a lot better, and for example, like the likes of Watson, who I'd dug a grave for after the game before that, and still rightly so, because of the performances he was putting in, and his attitude was piss poor. He was a bit better, he was a bit more threatening, and he was trying. But then, so I was happy with it, but then I thought to myself, Jesus Christ, how low have my standards sank? How low have they gone? They're absolutely on the floor if I'm now praising players in my head because they tried. Do you know what I mean? That should be the absolute base level, the foundation level of a review of someone's performance. Actually trying. Do you know what I mean? That shouldn't be the whole thing of, you tried, that's excellent. Do you know what I mean? Our standards, our levels are dropping by the game, which again is something else, which is another reason why I want us to be putting our better players together to give us some momentum. Because standards are slipping all over the shop. But yes, the intensity was a little bit better against Blackburn, but albeit it wasn't a good enough performance, obviously. And we're just not looking clinical enough up top as well. Now, with Regis saying now we're entering playoff mode, I would like to think that he's going to play largely our best 11 this weekend and the weekend after. He has said, now that it's one game a week and we've got a week in between, we can start using our better players to get them that sort of sharpness. Which again, great to hear. And there's a lot of injury news coming back in as well. Sirkin, I'm not too sure whether he said it was this game against Oxford that he's going to be on the bench and coming on for the final 25 minutes or so, or it's the next game. I can't quite remember, but he did say Dennis. Agialessi, Dan Ballard, hopefully going to be making it for the playoffs, possibly anyway. Mayenda, he has to follow the concussion rules because he did come off late in the last game. He's showing no symptoms. He seems to be absolutely fine, but going along with the sort of guidelines, we're basically giving him a rest, which I'm totally fine with, and then he will be coming in for the playoffs, which is, of course, fantastic. Mundle as well, he's someone who they're expected to be ready to play some kind of part in the playoffs, which begs the question, how much of Watson are we going to see? I think he's putting all of his eggs in one basket with Watson on that left-hand side. He might end up surprising us putting Lafay out there, but I want to see Lafay in the middle. I think, ideally, I would like to see a midfield trio of Dan Neil, Job and Lafay. And then it'd be great to have Roberts on the right, Mundle on the left, and then Mayender up top for me. That'd be the best system for us, in my opinion. Or you could have Job and Dan Neil as the holders, and then Lafay in front of them, so a bit more solidified in the middle, possibly. Or as I say, usually I like to see the Dan Neil as the anchor, and then Job and Lafay pushed a little bit further forward to give them that license to threaten. That'd be fantastic. Now, one player who I will give a little bit of credit for, I realise that this isn't necessarily an Oxford preview, by the way. It's just a bit of a ramble. I just thought I wanted to give you something before the game. One player that did actually come away with a little bit of praise from me was Joe Anderson. Joe Anderson hadn't played. I think I saw a statistic online. It was something like over 600, 800 days after signing for the club, he makes his first appearance for the club, or at least a starting appearance for the club. And I don't think he was that bad at all. I know it'd be easy to say, oh, he was shit because the result was poor, but I don't think he was that bad. If anything, I think he looked a lot more solid than Hjelde, or should I say safe? And safe isn't the worst word to use in the world, or the worst thing to be in the world when you're a defender. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, you weren't bombing down the wing and making overlapping runs constantly, but he just seemed really solid. And Nolan on that right-hand side, other than the goal, he was largely kept quiet by Anderson, and so I was quite surprised. So I will throw it out there. I don't want to just keep giving negative all the time. I will give credit where I think it's due, or at least where I believe it to be due. So he might use Anderson. I've got a feeling it'll be Hjelde probably on that left-hand side. I'm not going to give you my sort of preferred 11, because although Regis does say that he's going to be, we're in playoff mode, we could quite easily be proved wrong here, and he could just do exactly what we've seen with Alexis and other players. Harrison Jones, I actually thought was very good, particularly in that first half against Blackburn. He seemed like their only real threatening player. Every time he got it in that sort of 10 role, he spun with the ball and then would try and create something, and he just didn't look an inch out of place at all. So I will give again credit where it's due. But at this point, although I would maybe like to see him for 20 minutes at the end of the game, I do want to see our best players starting where they can at the moment to try and get that cohesion together, to get everyone on the same wavelength, so then we do head into the playoffs with the best possible opportunity. And it's not like we're starting or we're practicing whilst we're in the playoffs, like, oh, this is the system we want to play. First leg, go, do it for the first time. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about when I talk about cohesion, which of course I'm not trying to patronise anyone, but that's just what I mean. Basically, I'm trying to explain myself. But yeah, going up against Oxford, who I think they pretty much need just a couple of points or a point, I think maybe, to sort of conclude their campaign and solidify their place in the league. So they have absolutely everything to play for. Their record recently, it's pretty much, I think they drew last time out against Cardiff. But prior to that, it was sort of win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one for quite a while. But they are 3 points above the relegation zone. So they are going to absolutely have the intensity of a team that are essentially fighting for their lives. Whereas as much as I say that I want us to treat these games with the utmost respect and sincerity, I think just naturally you can't really treat a game with the same level of intensity that you would in a playoff game, because I think ultimately at the end of the day there's going to be sort of 5%, 10% in the back of their head. So these players at points in the game will think, well, at the end of the day, even if we do lose this game, it doesn't really amount to much. It doesn't really mean anything. Do you know what I mean? And I know obviously we don't want the players to think like that, but I think naturally that is just going to sit in the back of their minds. Whereas in a playoff game, the very rare it's a playoff game, it's do or die, it's now or never. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I would like to see us at least attempt to match the intensity that I do expect Oxford to come out with. They're going to come out flying, I reckon. But I just want to see us have that commitment and that intensity going forward. I want to see us with a press and really trying to end the season, or at least the league season, on a high. Because again, I'm repeating myself a lot. I think just because of how piss poor we've been in recent weeks, performances and results-wise, in lineups we're playing, the fan base is just slowly deflating. You know, with the lineups almost screaming, we don't really care at this point. You're getting that back because that's what happens with crowds. You get what you're given. So we reflect, the crowd are a reflection of what's going on the pitch. If it's shit on the pitch, it's shit in the crowd. Do you know what I mean? I think there was quite a few people, and I genuinely don't really blame them, particularly in the build-up to the Blackburn game, that I knew that had tickets. They saw the lineup and they stayed in the boozer, and I genuinely don't blame them. No, normally I would. I'd be like, "What are you doing?" But I just don't blame them at all because it was that bad. We looked at the lineup, and to be fair, they weren't as bad as the lineup originally suggested, but still, it was just one of them, like, you're not really caring, so why should we type thing. But yeah, so I apologise, it hasn't been much of a preview, just more of a ramble of my thoughts going into this game. The only reason I made it, like I say, is because Regis has hinted that now he is going to take it seriously. It's a bit frustrating, it's taken a couple of months for him to say it, but we're here now. Hopefully we do just end the season on a high. It uplifts everyone, we play some exciting football, and then everyone's going in to the playoffs and a really positive mindset. So anyway, yeah, guys, so whether there's going to be a review to this game, I'm not too sure. I'm actually busy tomorrow, a family member's birthday, so I'm not going to be able to, well, I'm not going to be home tomorrow at all, pretty much, and Sunday, possibly. We might see it, we might not. Then I'm back in work on Monday anyway, so I'm boring you now. But yeah, anyway, do us a favour, guys. Hit the like button for me. Let me know in the comments down below what score you think it's going to be, how you're feeling heading into this game. Do you think he's going to go full strength, or do you think he's going to let a few fringe players play again, give them some minutes? Let me know in the comments down below. But subscribe if you are new. It's massively, massively appreciated. Heading into the playoffs, will be a lot more content. I'll definitely be going more in depth there, and I'll be making sure I get on top of my uploads, hopefully anyway, if my work schedule allows it. Just recently, it's just been a nightmare, and I've also had zero motivation because of the shite performances and lineups we're seeing. But either way, take care, guys. How are you, lads? Keep the faith. Stay jammy.